Trainers from around the world, battlers of all kinds, welcome to Battle Nights. You can't see my image right now because apparently my OBS is taking out my camera. But I am Sosaflo and this is Poke Battle Network and you're here for Battle Nights as we have an amazing crew here, an amazing two teams all the way from our lovely community here from the battling community. We have the girls at PvP, their team Spinal, Tapu, Fini versus Lured Up podcast team Lured Up Lag. I am accompanied by some amazing casters here. We have Miss Enhoff, Shadow Prime, and Miss Need for Speedy. So casters, introduce yourselves while I come back on screen.
Sounds great, Sosa. Everyone, I'm Enhoff. I'm one of the admins for Girls at PvP, so you might see a little bit of bias here in who I'm rooting for. I'm also a huge fan of Tapu Fini, one of my favorite Pokemon. So the name is also very much doing it for me. But I'm very excited to watch both teams' parties of 6 that they've picked for these battles. This format's always very fun, as well as the battles themselves. So very excited to be getting to work with some lovely casters as well.
Very nice. And my name is Shadow Prime 34. I'm the host of the Roundtable Chatot podcast. Lots of puns, lots of dad jokes, and I apologize for none of them because I think they're hilarious. So yeah, I'm super excited to be here with these amazing battlers and amazing casters. So it's gonna be fun. I'm excited.
And even though I guess I don't have like a fancy outside title. I mean, I am a Play Pokemon Professor Judge. I feel like I have a little bit of reputation in the community as is. Need for Speedy, the other Speedy as some call, and definitely looking forward to seeing the matchups between these two teams.
Definitely looking forward. Sorry, no, I'm still here. I'm sorry. Definitely looking. I am Sosaflo, the black ghost of Christmas future, and I'm here for all of your Halloween's fun. This is Battle Nights. I haven't figured out my camera yet. Apparently, we're having some fun issues tonight, but we are here for a great time. We have two wonderful teams, and what they have done here, if you haven't been to Battle Nights before, they have 5 battlers each, and each team submits 2 or 5 sets of bands, and within those 10 bands, they are given them, and then they have to draft within themselves. So no same Pokemon are on 2 teams, so you can't have a Swampert on Team 1 and a Shadow Swampert on Team 2. Yes, this includes Shadows as well. So with that being said, we have battlers paired up with their teams of 6. They battle it out. Each win gets you a point. Team with the most points wins. Very simple. Let's go check out these bands. Casters, so what do you see? No, go for it. Casters, what do you see?
I see both teams opting to ban Bastiodon, but otherwise we have 9 unique bans, which is always really exciting. For this format. Again, the bans are blind, so any overlaps just get tossed out. So Bastiodon's just banned, but all the other bans are unique. So we have a lot of that top meta. All 4 of the top steel types are banned in Registeel, Bastiodon, Galarian Stunfisk, and Skarmory. And then some other interesting picks being banned, Nidoqueen and both of the big dark types. We have both of the big normal types as well, Lickitung and Diggersby. Should make for an interesting match with a lot less bulk in the meta with these bans in place.
Yeah, I do see that Umbreon, little man, my thick Umbreon. I do have a nice little soft spot. So hopefully on Tapu Fini side, we get an Umbreon so that I can, sit here and have my little Pokemon bias as is.
Nice. And for me, I've been doing a lot of GBL lately, so that Lickitung has put me in my place a few times. So I'm excited to see that on the bench. So yeah, I'm excited to see how these teams are going to turn out.
I too like the tank ban. I like the fact that it's a lot of HP off the table, whether it's in the G-Fisk, in the Registeel, the Bastiodon, but then you take out things like Umbreon. You take out Diggersby and Lickitung in that as well, and you kind of make those fighter Pokemon a little less important. So having a fighter move isn't like key there. So I really like that when battlers do that aspect and play with that. I think that's super exciting, and I cannot wait to see what these teams are coming out to be. As I will still try to figure out my camera situations, we are going to go kick it over to the analyst desk where Shadow Prime and Enhoff are going to look at the first set of teams. So let's go over there, and me and Need for Speedy are going to be in the arena shoutcasting these battles. So Enhoff and Shadow Prime, enjoy these battles that these matchups you're going to see, these teams you're about to see.
Looks like we're starting off with the two captains for these teams. Fish on a Heater versus Final Boss AJ. So we see Cresselia on both sides of the field and Shadow Beedrill on both sides of the field. A little bit of overlap on these teams, but otherwise completely different.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And then with that, the Shadow Ninetales has definitely risen in popularity. I'm definitely excited to see how that's going to play out. And that Steelix as well, too.
I'm a big fan of the Steelix. I have Steelix is on my Aero Draft League team this season. It's very potent, especially with those moveset additions it got during the most recent Go Battle League update. And it looks very strong against AJ's team. You have the Psychic Fangs now for that Beedrill. You have Crunch for AJ's two Psychic types and the Frostlass as well, if that Steelix is on Crunch and Psychic Fangs. And really, it's something that even against something like a Shadow Kanto Ninetales, you put a lot of pressure on with those Dragon Tails. So I really like that pick. The team that Fish on a Heater's constructed just looks very good. It's going to be on AJ to kind of win this matchup. Not that I have any doubt in her ability to do so.
Absolutely. That's what I love about like that pick six. It's kind of like that mental chess game that's going on. So I'm definitely excited to see how these battles are going to play out.
Yeah, ready to get into them.
Yeah, let's take a look.
Absolutely. So it does look like we are missing my fabulous co-caster, but he is up in the clouds, up in the see if we can't get it quickly back on.
I'm in the clouds.
Back. Okay.
I'm in the clouds. I'm in the clouds. Welcome back, everybody. That kind of made it sound like I passed away. You're like, he is gone, he's left us. But we are going right into the battles, Needy, as we get Cresselia into this Defense Deoxys. Now, you and I both know AJ loves that Frostlass, so it's probably sitting in the back. Oh, we get to see AJ's side now too. Phew, thought we weren't gonna see it, but here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. But we did hear our fabulous analysts talk about how there wasn't going to be that much bulk, but definitely Cresselia and Defense Deoxys are something that can definitely take a couple hits from one another, and definitely are some pretty bulky Pokemon, with this Cresselia taking very little damage from this Defense Deoxys Thunderbolt, and is going to keep throwing these Moonblasts, but it's going to barely make it this Defense Deoxys into yellow. And the Cresselia will have, even into the red, but the Cresselia will still have to throw another move.
You would expect the IVs on AJ's DD to like be to take a hit like that, and that took it in the deep red. The Thunderbolt goes through unshielded, and that's in the deep red too. But here we go, back onto this Moonblast. Should
Absolutely.
KO.
This defense, the Defense Deoxys deciding not to shield, taking a potential energy advantage on this Cresselia, but this Cresselia has a lot of HP for a Pokemon to try to come in and farm it down. But we do see this Shadow Ninetales trying to be up for this task.
Now, this could be really actually detrimental, and here's why. There is no Grass Knot on that Cresselia, which could have spammed off a move and gotten a shield. Instead, Ninetales just free farms and has to deal with this rock Pokemon and doesn't have to worry about switch anymore. And not for nothing, if AJ finds out that it's Steelix in the back, she's golden. Oh, she's gonna go and dip. Oh, she's so golden. That overheat came through, and now her Cresselia will show you why Grass Knot on Cresselia is so prominent.
Absolutely, this grass knot will potentially be connecting with the shiny Steelix, but definitely not doing as much damage as you hope. And also, we do see Psychic Feign, which is definitely a different moveset compared to Earthquake. But these crutches will be hurting this Cresselia, and it won't be as bulky as the Cresselia on the opposing side, where it was taking the Thunderbolt. See, bringing that crunch was able to bring the Cresselia into the yellow.
Yeah, and luckily that crunch did not proc, or else Cresselia would not like anything else coming from Steelix. Now I see the crunch, kind of, Psychic Fang gives you that sweet debuff and then crunch, but I mean, I guess we're playing for shields here because there's still 2 shields on Fish. Like, does he know this? Like, he's got to do 2 shields on this, ooh, you saw the tap for the Ninetales. You saw it, but it didn't happen. In comes the crunch too, and 2 shields, she's gonna give it. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, absolutely. But she does realize that she's able to farm down the shiny Steelix, not getting that shiny attack bonus. But then this Regirock is coming in and immediately throwing a charge move. Will she decide to shield the A9? And does decide to shield the Shadow A9, potentially, or K9? Potentially realizing that this is her win condition.
I didn't want to say anything. I was like, this is K9 with fire, not ice. But neither fire nor ice want to see this Stone Edge come through. So she absolutely had to shield this. And look at that. Again, we talked about the Cresselia's moveset. Grass Knot is going to KO. She's going to get to that Grass Knot before another Stone Edge gets through. And she's going to be able to take the win. Fish has a shield
still. There is still a shield.
I didn't even see that.
There's still a shield in play. So this Stone Edge will be able to connect with this Cresselia. And will it be enough? It is able to be enough to take out the bulky Cresselia, giving her first win to Fish on a heater.
Fish on a heater getting the first point of the matchup. That was really well played. He found tankiness in unmeta tanks, but his team is pretty tanky with Noctowl and Cresselia on top of those. She got the lead. Final boss AJ's getting that lead. The counters are going to get that Regirock right off the table, and it is the Cresselia meeting into it. Now, here's the interesting thing. It's Future Sight and Moonblast. So maybe Ninetales doesn't shield thinking that Grass Knot is going to come because it was only Moonblast, but here comes the Future Sight. Woo, Speedy, that was a lot of damage.
But this Shadow K9 is going to be able to dish out some damage of its own with these weather balls coming through. Definitely being able to potentially get a protect shield, as this could potentially be an overheat, but no, Fish understanding, hey, my Cresselia is really bulky and could probably take that move. Being able to throw a Moonblast here and grabbing the first protect shield from AJ, understanding how much damage this K9 is able to dish out. But we do see that fast move pressure, and another weather ball comes off, potentially getting the first protect shield from Fish.
Does Fish let it go? Cresselia, you did your job, and Fish says thank you, but you're going to Nurse Joy, and he's going to bring out, I would assume, the Steelix, since it has the crunch and it does a little extra damage. Yeah, with that Dragon Tail. Oh, but it gets to the charge move right away. Ooh, that's a tough call. That was a tough call, but the Steelix is going to give up the shield and just going to farm down and maybe just swap shields for shields here. As the last Dragon Tail took out that Ninetales, Speedy.
Absolutely, but we do see that desperately going for this crunch, this super effective charge move up against the Defense Deoxys, but Defense Deoxys is going to be able to take this crunch, only going to be taking it, not even into the yellow, but we do get the defense fall. Going to make this a better position for Fish's Steelix to try to get to another crunch, but going to be able to throw the Thunderbolt first, but I don't believe this will knock out the Steel-type Pokemon.
No, it's not going to do very much anything to that Steel-type Pokemon. As a matter of fact, AJ is in the driver's seat. Fish has revealed all 3 of his Pokemon, and this is the best she came up with that says, bring back my DD onto this. I'll take a crunch. I can at least do some damage to this thing, and then bring my Stone Edge and my Cresselia out there and deal with that Stone Edge and Regirock.
Yeah, absolutely. But we do have to remember Fish does have an extra protect shield, but this Regirock is not going to appreciate the grass nods from this bulky Cresselia. But We do see that Steelix in the back with a little bit of health. We do see that Defense Deoxys in the back with a little bit of health.
Mhm.
Catch potentials on both sides that could affect the outcome of this match.
Ooh, a point is a point, and everybody needs a point when it comes down to it. Tried to go for the defense debuff or the attack debuff, didn't go through, and a grass knot's coming in hot. A point is a point. If they can make the catch and get their team a point, that is the W they're trying to get for their team. That's the objective here, as the grass knot is super effective in taking that Regirock into the deep yellow.
Absolutely, but this Cresselia, will it be able to take the Stone Edge, barely surviving and hanging on and getting to the grass knot right before this Regirock will not be able to take this grass knot. Will it be able to knock it out? It is, because it is super effective. This Steelix coming in, trying to farm down, but unable to, giving a point to AJ. So very, very intense match.
That was a really intense match, and she knew it exactly. The minute she took out that Regirock, she's like, I gotta get that last counter in. Can't give anything to this Steelix Pokemon. And that was a great matchup. She was in the driver's seat from the get-go. Didn't have to reveal Cresselia till later. And now we've got Noctowl into the Shadow Canine here. And it's Ember, too, which is, I believe, a nod to Miss Cindy. I believe everybody on the team wanted this nod to Miss Cindy here. And here comes a Weather Ball.
Absolutely. The Shadow variant is able to pack a little bit more of a punch, even though it's a Alolan variant might be a little bit better in this matchup. But this Noctowl is still able to take that Weather Ball and throw off its first charge move of Sky Attack on its own.
Yo, that Cresselia living with 1 HP in a dream just now, I had Colin 6 flashes right there. I was watching that matchup just a minute ago with 1 HP on this Noctowl, and just Noctowl is so oppressive as we had a little lag. Now we're speeding up back to the game and another Weather Ball's coming through.
Absolutely. And deciding to protect shield the Noctowl, understanding how much energy, even though this was a charge move priority event, gonna have to throw the Sky Attack, and AJ deciding to just probably take the farm on a different Pokemon and get an energy advantage.
It seems like shields are more important than switch or placement right now, as Beedrill's coming in immediately. Woo! AJ, you playing hot. That Sky Attack was almost there too, but the Poison Stings knocked that Noctowl right off because it was in the deep red. And now this Beedrill's loaded with energy. Shadow Beedrill is a core breaker for some, if you know how to play it right. And maybe AJ's got a good opportunity here to play this really well.
Yeah, AJ does, if she took her information from the first 2 matches, remembers that this Cresselia doesn't exactly have Grass Knot, so she does have to fear the future sight from it. But this Beedrill is super spammy, and getting that extra farm off that Noctowl is able to throw these charge moves, X Scissors very quickly, with leaving the Cresselia into the red.
I don't know about you, but it seems like AJ did her math on these X Scissors, because that is so surprising. The X Scissors are down. The B just was like, nah, you're going to have to bring something else to come fight me. Remember, Fish brought in that Pokemon to go against the bee, and the bee just whooped it down to nothing. Cresselia is nothing now. As a crunch goes through on this Cresselia, will they get the debuff? No debuff. And it seems the Steelix is going to see a Grass Knot now. And it's just, they both got Pokemon in the back. We might be trying to make catches again, Speedy.
Yeah, absolutely. This Cresselia is pretty bulky, though, and the Steelix has a lot of work ahead of it if it's going to try to win this matchup. We do see this Cresselia is going to be able to make it to another Grass Knot before this Steelix is able to throw Crunch, and deciding to not shield, trying to get a little bit extra energy, but we're going to have to see if AJ finally values her Cresselia, or she's going to just let it go.
She's going to let it go. She's gone crazy. I don't understand this, because that's Helix now with that Psychic Fang too, and it debuffs. She's got a game plan. She does? She's got a game plan. She's got a game plan. The Psychic Fang.
Yeah, I don't think AJ was aware of Psychic Fang on this Steelix, but able to bait the X Scissor, trying to probably desperately make it to a drill run before the Steelix able to make it to another charge move. It will be a race or not. The fast move down, giving the win to the shiny Steelix. for fish on a heater.
Dragon Tail is no joke now. It kind of helped unlock Steelix, especially when you have Psychic Fang as well. But we are going to have our analysts come break down these matches that we saw, as we're going to kick it back to Miss Enhoff and Shadow Prime.
Whew, what a battle. What were your thoughts on that, Enhoff?
Yeah, the casters pointed out at the start. A lot of bulk was banned, but we saw some extremely bulky Pokemon still there. The two bulkiest Psychic types in Great League, that Defense Deoxys and that Cresselia, that Steelix as well, looking really potent on that Psychic Fangs and Crunch moveset. And some really interesting decisions. Neither, or both Cresselia with a bit of unorthodox movesets. The one from Fish on a Heater on Moonblast and Future Sight, which actually wound up hindering him in game 2 because he had to throw Moonblast at the Shadow Kanto Ninetales, and it's a little more expensive than Grass Knot. But ultimately, a really nice moveset for AJ's team, and then AJ opting for Grass Knot and Future Sight, which again, very, very interesting. Read of what she needed. She didn't need that Moonblast, so really, really always interesting to see, like, those deviations from the norm.
Absolutely, and those bulky Pokemon doing exactly what like they were put out there to do, and just like taking those hits when they needed and dishing them out when they could. So yeah, definitely some good plays there.
For sure, for sure. It's always neat to see Regirock as well. It's just not the most common Pokemon. I know a lot of people don't have a Great League Regirock, so always an interesting pick, and certainly also worked very well here, being excellent anti-Kanto Ninetales pressure with that rock.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Also, that the Shadow Beedrill, that was a nice pick to throw it out there. But that Beedrills, I always love those things. I somehow always end up being my core breakers on my teams. So yeah, I love seeing those things out there in battle doing work.
For sure. Now, if we can get into the next matchup, we can get to look at another couple parties. So it looks like we have the Cole X versus it's Ready on the left, right. I was gonna say the Cole X is not someone I recognize from Ready's on the right. The Cole X on the left. We have two water poison types, very, very different water poison types. We have the Tentacruel on the Cole X, and we have the Toxapex from Ready on the right. And then Cole X has another poison type in Golbat, Dunsparce, the Lurantis, Scrafty, and Frostlass. While Ready has the Toxapex, Shadow Gardevoir, Araquanid, Altaria, Steelix of her own now, and Whiscash. So lots of like new or newly buffed Pokemon. We have Tentacruel and Dunsparce on the left. We have Araquanid, Steelix, and Toxapex on the right, all either new or newly buffed.
Absolutely, and like seeing these teams square off, it's like ready for like war. It's absolutely great. Those Shadow Charms from Shadow Gardevoir are absolutely dangerous, but Shadow Golbat can put up a fight too. So I'm excited to see how these Pokemon are gonna square up. Also, Lurantis is a nice pick. I'm definitely intrigued to see how this is gonna play out.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Lurantis. There's also a lot of like debuff action going on these teams. We have Tentacruel with Acid Spray and Scald. We have Golbat with Poison Fang. We have Lurantis has Superpower as a self debuff. Scrafty as Pup. Araquanid has all those bubble beams, and Steelix again. We just saw last battle with both Psychic Fangs and Crunch can really add up those debuffs, and I think those make for some interesting battles. You have those in-game decisions of like, do I switch out my Pokemon to clear these debuffs off? Do I try to ramp up if I'm a Scrafty, or if I'm like a Golbat to slowly debuffing my opponent? So it's very, very cool to see, and I just think these are going to be some great sets for sure.
These are going to be good. Yeah, I'm excited to see Dunsparce in battle. I haven't actually seen one in PvP, so I'm excited.
Yeah, let's see these battles.
Oh no, what's back? That's back round 1. Stop. All right, round 2. All right, Speedy, you ready for this? We see Dunsparce.
I am definitely ready for this.
Araquanid. Big Daddy Whiscash is on the table. You know, we did talk about banning tanks, and it seems like battlers are finding still tanks out of left field. Like Toxapex and Steelix and Big Daddy Whiscash and Altaria. Like, Reddy's team is all tank, including Araquanid.
Absolutely. Let's get into these matches, though. So we do see this Dunsparce into the Steelix. I don't know what it is, but apparently everyone likes a good shiny Steelix. Dunsparce is definitely pretty bulky, and we do see also a very different moveset than what I'm used to. I'm typically used to seeing Earthquake, but we do end up seeing another Psychic Fang Steelix.
Yeah, Psychic Fang Steelix is kind of fun to play with, especially on something like this where you got to do some quick battles, get a quick W here or there, throw your opponent off, as the Psychic Fang helps you, with the rest of the team. Now, this Dunsparce defense fall. Oh, who got it off first? Oh, the Psychic Fang comes off first as both battlers tap for a CMP there. The double Psychic Fang, well, it's still, it's in the yellow. Dunsparce is tanky as well. But they are just doing wonderful jobs here. That's what I love about this Psychic Fang now on this Steelix. There's another drill run's coming in off this Dunsparce.
Absolutely. This drill run will be able to make it the Steelix down into the red, trying to potentially farm down, but unable to, and switching into this new Pokemon.
Lurantis is gonna see Psychic Fang? Is it Fury Cutter or Razor Leaf? What is it? Oh, it's Fury Cutter, but it doesn't want to see Toxic. Ooh, I like Lurantis. I think it's a great one of like a Beedrill kind of Pokemon. It's got that grass typing, but it also has poison or bug typing. It's got Fury Cutter, as you see here. Also has Razor Leaf. Like, you could definitely play around with it if you like to play that kind of style. But here comes another grass move, as Toxapex has just become, I've heard, the new Bastiodon of them all.
Absolutely. This Toxapex absolutely taking all these charge moves, farming down the Lurantis, has a whole bunch of energy for what Cole has in the back, but bringing back in the Dunsparce, able to make it to the charge move and throw at this Toxapex, understanding that this Toxapex has a whole bunch of energy and does not want to lose it, using the Protect Shield of Match.
Doesn't want to lose it, can just spam off the last Pokemon and force shields off of it, whatever it is in the back, and that's exactly what Reddy is doing. She is putting down the pressure, and Brian goes through, and oh, you don't want to see a Big Daddy Whiscash on a Tentacruel. It's just like they created Whiscash to hard counter the opposite of Tentacruel. It's like, oh, you have poison? We'll meet your counter. There's the Mud Bomb spam off.
Yeah, absolutely. But we do see Scald and Blizzard on this Tentacruel, maybe potentially trying to catch that Altaria, but it is going to be stuck up against this Whiscash, trying to throw the charge move. Scald definitely bringing the Whiscash down into the yellow, potential chance, but definitely not going to be wanting to take this Mud Bomb and getting the second Protect Shield onto this matchup.
Like, she's got a Protect Shield. She's got a safe swap in Steelix, a safe swap in Toxapex. Like, she doesn't have to be afraid of, like, getting a catch or anything. She's pretty safe here to throw a charge move and take out this Tentacruel right now. Ooh.
Absolutely, but we did see that attack fall on the Scald. Will it be enough to let the Tentacruel make it to another move? It does cause the Mud Bomb only to bring the Tentacruel down into the red, but the Whiscash is able to make it to the Mud Bomb before the Tentacruel is able to make it to the next Scald to potentially knock out the Whiscash and giving the victory to Reddy.
Those Mud Boys are spammy, and this is one of the spammiest ones. Not a Community Day special spammy, just a regular spammy Mud Boy here, as the Mud Bomb took out that Tentacruel. So will we see Lurantis again? Is that coming out? Will Golbat play?
Well, we'll have to see. We
Lurantis is
into Lurantis.
What a great call. What a great call by the Colax, as he gets the call but swaps out immediately and brings in the Tentacruel.
Absolutely. We do see potentially a potential catch on the skull, maybe, but going for the sludge wave first. I think this was a charged move priority event, so Tentacruel is able to make this scald off, potentially chipping the Toxapex before it is able to go out. But this Toxapex is not leaving without a parting gift, causing the sludge wave to connect to the Tentacruel. But it's still, the Tentacruel is still pretty healthy, still very high into the yellow, but this Toxapex is able to take all of its charge moves. So definitely Cole is in a very rough position here.
Oh my goodness, this is an uphill battle for sure, as Cole is just trying to get his tanky boy to do anything. But as you see, the Dunsparce and Altaria are both in the back, and they're got to keep that alignment, or they might see, that Dunsparce might actually get the W it's trying to get. Sludge Wave goes through again, as Tentacruel is going to go down off of fast moves.
Absolutely. So now trying to figure out how to deal with this bulky Toxapex down a Pokemon and only having this Toxapex into the yellow, deciding to bring in the Dunsparce, revealing his entire team to try to go up against this bulky Pokemon. But Toxapex is definitely going to keep throwing off its charge moves with the Sludge Wave being able to connect and doing some serious damage to this Dunsparce.
You both have shields. She's seen all three of your battles, your Pokemon. There's a game plan here. There's strategy behind it. But she doesn't. She is avoiding marrying up the Altaria with that Dunsparce as the Steelix came in with those Dragon Tails. I'm telling you, girl, the girls are in the driver's seat this battle. They are just on top of it, getting in to see all the information upon their opponents. Another Psychic Feint's coming through, and Dunsparce, even though it's tanky, is gonna give up its shield for this. For this, it gives up its shield. Ooh, that's a tough one.
Well, understanding, trying to save the Dunsparce for potentially what's in this bag. So there's a poor grass-type Pokemon is going to be met by its flyer, whereas counter Altaria and trying to get charge moves off and a protect shield going up on it so that it potentially has something to do against the Altaria, but we see how little damage those Fury Cutters are doing.
Altaria has come up as a huge dominant Pokemon now after all those Season 12 debuffs happened around, and as a closer it is one of the best, and it has 2 shields and it has to worry about a rollout Dunsparce in the red. It can take whatever this Lurantis has to throw, and it debuffs itself, so Altaria can't just farm any more off of it. That's a brilliant play here. Another debuff as well, so that Altaria can't just feed Frenzy on this thing, because there is no shields in the deep red. But the move goes through on Dunsparce, as that was a CMP tie. Altaria should be giving up that shield to keep it alive for the Rock Slide. Yes, she does, and gives off that. Is that Moonblast? It was just a Sky Attack. Perfect timing, as the Dunsparce will say goodnight.
Absolutely. Definitely feel like Reddy is in the driver's seat here. Definitely showing a dominating performance in these first 2 matches. Will Cole be able to now readjust, understand how Reddy is able to make her teams? Or is she going to be able to take a 3rd victory here?
Girl, I just think this was a tough pairing for Cole. If you look at that team, it absolutely asks to not see that Altaria and needs Blizzard on that Tentacruel. Scrafty afraid of coming out for Altaria leads, but gets the Steelix lead on the first one, and in comes the Toxapex. Dunsparce comes back out to meet up with the Toxapex, thinking that maybe Altaria might be taking a back seat, but the Tentacruel is there too. So we might be seeing that connection later down the line. Keep your eye out for it, as this, I think it's Drill Run's gonna come in off the Toxapex.
Absolutely, but this Toxapex is really bulky and able to take that Drill Run with such confidence, still being able to be into the green, as this Dunsparce is not going to appreciate the Sludge Wave and will be brought down to the yellow. So Cole has to understand time his charge moves correctly, as Reddy is understanding that this Toxapex is very bulky, but it does not appreciate this Drill Run. The Toxapex, it is able to make it to the charge move and be able to grab the first Protect Shield from Cole.
All right, Cole investing into the Dunsprice, realizing that it's his key guy, the key Pokemon that could help him through the final batches, getting to the shield. Oh! Looks like he was trying to get through, but rollout being that long-term move, the Dunsprice does not get a charge move off and loses all of that energy. That is really tough when you lose all of that energy. Whew, that is
Yeah,
a real...
absolutely.
A shield and
Especially
all
at
that
a
energy.
shield.
Yeah.
Yeah, shield disadvantage. Definitely was going to try to farm down there, understanding. But now we see this Steelix come in, and this Tentacruel is really not going to appreciate these Psychic Fangs, but really understanding that she is in a very powerful situation with that Altaria in the back that is going to now be lined up against the Scrafty rather than her Steelix that was lined up against it earlier.
She is, again, just taking control of this entire matchup. I mean, you gotta think, oh, why is the Steelix coming out again on this water Pokemon that I've shown Scald on numerous amounts of times? Then not shielding two shields on it? Like, oh, it's gotta be the Altaria in the back. Like, Cole's gotta understand his situation and understands that maybe he's gotta do a quick swap, get some taps in, and then bring the or gets a quick swap and then throw off some foul plays. But another Psychic Fang's coming through, and that could be real detrimental. As in comes the Altaria, and you've got the shield, and it's shiny, and like we said, the foul play comes in first.
Yeah, absolutely. But this foul play isn't going to do that much damage to this Altaria. Altaria is definitely a pretty bulky bird as long as it's not matched up against any sort of fairies or ice types. But,
Speaking
being very
of,
safe.
I was hoping to see Shadow Guard. The power of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that would definitely obliterate the Scrafty. The Scrafty reaching for one more foul play and Reddy calling the move correctly that this is going to be a foul play, not letting her Altaria go down, and just deciding to fast move down the Scrafty and will be fast moving down not fast moving down the Tentacruel, throwing the Sky Attack, getting the last Protect Shield from Cole before it is able to die to another Sky Attack with her 100 energy. And this should be able to knock out this Tentacruel, giving a 3-0 commanding victory to Reddy.
Yeah, I did not count those last two. I apologize. So there it is. 3-0. Oh my goodness. Getting the Tapu Fini back on top with the 4-2W. That is a great job there. So we're going to kick it back to our analyst to talk about what we just witnessed.
I think that we just witnessed a beatdown.
Oh yeah. Yeah, Tapu Fini's back on Tapu Fini. Yeah, that was so good.
Yeah, Reddy's team just extraordinarily bulky. I really like the play in game 2. She had her Toxapex in the lead against that Lurantis, and the Cole swapped in the Tentacruel, and she recognizes the Toxapex just beats Tentacruel. It's the bulkier poison water. They both resist each other, and Toxapex just comes out on top. And she recognized she had that Altaria in the back. She was able to line that up against Lurantis later in the battle. And it's just very good recognition of your team and whether or not you have to swap out of a matchup. That I think a lot of players tend to impulsively reach for a different Pokemon if they see their opponent swap. So I love that from her. Cole played it very well. Just did not have a great answer for that Toxapex, and we saw it come all 3 games and really just dominate that battle or that matchup.
Absolutely, and the alignment with the Altaria and the Lurantis was just absolutely fantastic. No matter what Lurantis could throw, there was nothing that was going to impact Altaria very well. And I'm not gonna lie, I really love seeing Tentacruel versus Toxapex because Tentacruel is hey, I'm the original 151, bring it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So and it's just it can take some of those hits. It's not as bulky, but it's definitely in there. So definitely love seeing that. Would have loved to see that Shadow Guard, like Sosa was saying. Would have loved to see that thing come off the bench and play and get some game time. But the battlers had their plan. So
yeah, I know that's a favorite of Reddy's, so I would have loved to see it. I think she might have just been a little bit worried of those double poisons that Cole had. So it makes sense for sure. Can we get a look at our next matchup now?
Absolutely.
Looks like we will be featuring Lord Up Ken versus Athena 1993. Now, I'm curious if Ken had to walk 5 kilometers to be able to do this set of battles for this matchup, but he's got the Snorlax. I'm curious if it's got the cowboy hat. He's got the Azumarill, Hypno, Toxapex of his own, Shadow Electivire, and Altaria. What are we seeing over on Athena's side?
On Athena's side, we've got Hisuian Quillfish. We got a Wigglytuff, a Shadow Alolan Marowak, which is one of my personal favorites. The Scrafty, a Venusaur, and a Shadow Swampert. So I'm definitely excited to see these matchups. Anything sticking out to you?
Yeah, I love the Hisuian Quillfish pick. I think it's just a super versatile pick. It has a lot of moveset versatility, and depending on what moveset it comes in with, you could have something like Poison Jab, Dark Pulse, and Ice Beam. So like you could completely smack a Hypno with a Dark Pulse, and then hit an Altaria with an Ice Beam. Or a different moveset like Sludge Bomb for the Azumarill. So that's always a Pokemon that I look at. I really like its versatility, and I always find interesting. I think on Athena's side as well, that Wigglytuff is really interesting because it looks super good against Altaria, against Snorlax as well, resisting those licks. But then there's that Toxapex just looming on Ken's team, ready to bite back against it.
Oh yeah, and definitely a spicy pick with the Shadow Electivire. That thing has definitely spanked me a couple of times, and when I wasn't expecting it. So definitely excited to see how this is going to play out in this match as well.
Yeah, Electivire, always a fun Pokemon, and with that Shadow variant, those Ice Punches really start to threaten things like that Venusaur on Athena's side, and with only one Pokemon resisting, or 2 Pokemon resisting Wild Charge, that Venusaur and Swampert, but Venusaur being weak to the Ice Punch, it looks like it has a lot of room to play with on Athena's team as well, for sure.
Absolutely. And all speaking of those ice punches with that Hypno, we got the punch suite that's going on there. It's got that Shadow Ball. So it's gonna be fun to see how it's gonna match up against some heavy hitters on Athena's side.
Definitely agree. Are we ready to get our casters in there to watch these battles? Let's see them.
Let's party.
Let's see them indeed. Shall we, Miss Speedy? You having a fun time?
Absolutely. Yep, definitely looking forward to these matches. We do see that Wigglytuff going up against this Azumarill. So, Wigglytuff will apply a lot of fast move pressure, but this Azumarill is a very bulky Pokemon and able to take these charms, not taking that much damage.
I like how both battlers thought the fairy types were going to be in the back and brought those thick poison types. You got Hisuian Quillfish in the back, and you got the Toxapex in the back. But man, oh man, these fairies are taking it out on each other as another play rough comes from the Wigglytuff this time. Those charms just chunking away at that Azumarill's health.
Absolutely, but this is Azumarill deciding to shield, trying to get another Ice Beam off, and does get a shield from this Wigglytuff, but that Altaria in the back will appreciate this Wigglytuff, definitely being down into the yellow, and this Azumarill potentially even making it to another move. Will it make it to an Ice Beam? And no, it is able to be fast moved down right before, but this Toxapex will take this nice farm down on this Wigglytuff. But it does not appreciate seeing this Swampert.
It does not indeed. And here comes the Altaria. This one's not as shiny as the other one. But look at the Swampert. It's Shadow. It's got Earthquake, double Hydro Cannon. And Quillfish, I'm not going to lie, he's the coolest thing ever. Hisuian Quillfish, so chill in these battles. Doesn't have to move. Just going to stand there. Even when he's fast attacking, it's going to just do his damage. Look how good he's like, I'm just going to stand here and just chunk down what I can. Gives up a shield and going for the Shadow Ball. This shield right here from Ken is huge.
Absolutely. Deciding to shield, potentially afraid of that ice beam that can come on this quailfish. But this quailfish is not going to appreciate this sky attack that is going to be able to connect with no protect shields to hide behind. And is it going to get Dragon Breath down? Going to very quickly be able to meet the Shadow Swampert again. This Shadow Swampert does have a lot of energy, but it is gonna only take so much damage up against the Saltaria.
So much damage, but it doesn't need it. There's no shield on this Altaria as the second Hydro Cannon's coming off. If it doesn't, they're only 2 taps away to the third Hydro Cannon, and 1, 2, oh, going straight for the Earthquake. Not even worried about the Toxapex. Oh, here comes the Sludge Wave. Will this KO? Will this be enough to take out this Shadow?
I believe so. It is resisted damage, but is able to take out that Shadow Swampert right before it was able to make it to the Earthquake. So giving this a win to Ken here. You know, understanding maybe I should have protected my Wigglytuff a little bit more. That Altaria definitely carried for the back line.
And just like that, protecting the Wigglytuff, just didn't even bring the Wigglytuff. Brought in both poisons to take out this, that fairy type of Azumarill, but there is really nothing to answer against that Altaria in the back again.
Absolutely. We do see this Shadow Swampert reaching for this Earthquake. Will we get a shield? No, this going
Oh my
through
goodness!
on the Toxapex.
Oh my goodness, I've never seen a Toxapex get off the table that quickly. It came in and came out. Have you ever seen that? This thing is so tanky. As another Hydro Cannon from this Shadow Swampert takes onto this Altaria.
Yeah, absolutely. These Hydro Cannons are definitely doing a chunk as it is a Shadow variant. But this Altaria is now able to smack back and be like, I don't like what you did to that Toxapex. I'm going to get my revenge and be able to knock out the opposing Swampert. But we do see desperately going for that Shadow Ball. Will Ken decide to protect the Altaria? Yes, the Altaria is protected against this correctly called Shadow Ball. As will it be trying to reach desperately for the sky attack, and we'll see another protect shield here up for the Quailfish.
Again, the girls are in the driver's seat. Ken has revealed all 3 Pokemon, and she hasn't revealed this Venusaur in the back. That last shield is so important, and it's gone. It is gone, and I don't think Ken realizes how much he needed that shield right there, as Azumarill's gonna see this Venusaur, and this should be enough to get the, oh my goodness. I take everything back because Azumarill was close to an Ice Beam, but now a shield is gone for the Venusaur.
Absolutely, but this Azumarill really didn't have much where to go.
Right.
This Azumarill immediately switched out in the beginning, so desperately trying to make it to the Ice Beam, but immediately being met by a Sludge Bomb from this Venusaur that will do so much damage up against the Azumarill.
Ouch. First off, the Venusaur getting that off first is huge. This Ice Beam's gonna take the Venusaur into the deep yellow. Who's gonna get to their move first? Looks like that Community Day Frenzy Plant gets there first, and as Vine Whip does it, Venusaur is gonna throw it off, and Azumarill's gonna go down. Oof.
Absolutely. Very, very clean victory. You know, that poor bunny really didn't have much to go or anywhere to go except for up against that Swampert. You know, it did not appreciate the Venusaur. It did not appreciate the Quailfish. So I wonder if we're going to actually see it in this third match.
I mean, if I'm Ken, I'm bringing in Electivire. I've seen this Quillfish twice. I need this thing off the table. It is the bane of my existence. And the same teams here from both opponents. Oh, no, sorry. Venusaur comes back, but it's Wigglytuff lead this time. Quillfish is not playing for Athena as the charms just chunk away and an Ice Beam's going to go through. Unshielded will take the Wiggly to the yellow.
Absolutely. This Wigglytuff is very thick, though, able to apply this fast move pressure of Charm. A desperate swap out to potentially try to catch a play rough, but this Venusaur is going to be met by this Altaria, but it will be able to do some decent damage with these Sludge Bombs.
I like this move because, yes, the Sludge Bomb still hurts the Altaria, and Ken knows that. So he's giving up the shield because, I mean, if Wigglytuff comes out on this thing, it's just going to go on a feeding frenzy. But it looks like Athena's going to give a shield back to the Altaria in respects. This is going to be great as Dragon Breath is just chunking it down. I mean, we're going to have to see another Sludge Bomb coming off of this Venusaur. This won't KO the Altaria, but it's getting another shield. Need for Speedy. This is an incredible play. Ken must know something about his Altaria and Venusaurs and Wigglytuffs that we don't know about.
Yeah, we do see this second Sky Attack coming off, but deciding not to shield up against this Venusaur, maybe trying to bring in that Wigglytuff extra quick to try to get these fast move pressures of Charms as it can, and it's reaching for the Ice Beam and able to make it to the Ice Beam, connecting with this Altaria, which will secure the knockout. And as we can see what's in the back, this Toxapex is not going to appreciate being up against this Swampert.
No, it is not. And I saw it. I saw a little lag on Athena's side, and I think that actually went into her favor because it got the Pokemon to take out whatever and bring the Wigglytuff in faster and sooner to feed down on that Altaria. And it was huge for the Wigglytuff. As you see, it just took out a Azumarill, and it's now Toxapex onto this Swampert. Like, that lag actually played in Athena's favor there to not throw any moves and have that Sky Attack come in that quickly, as the Earthquake is going to take out this Toxapex as we saw it before. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, absolutely dominating performance. That Swampert up against that Toxapex. Very, very scary, but very well played from both our battlers on this. As we see that Tapu Fini is slowly pulling ahead, as I think we only need 8 points for a win.
Yeah.
So Lure It Up is definitely going to have to start trying to bring it back, trying to get a couple more wins. Tapu Fini's just going to win.
I'm not gonna lie, it looks like sweeps need to happen for somebody on Lured Up because it is not looking pretty for them. This was the third matchup. There's only 2 more left. So a total of 6 points left to go here. Like, this is crunch time. This is time to step up. So we're going to see what the analysts have to say as we're going to kick it back to Enhoff and Shadow Prime.
Wow. That Earthquake. Whew. The Earthquake is brutal.
I didn't realize that any move from a reasonable Pokemon could do that much damage to Toxapex. I know you can get those Shadow Zapdos Zap Cannons and those Shadow Mewtwo Side Strikes and things like that, but just an Earthquake from a Swampert, a Shadow Swampert, dealing that much damage just looks remarkable, and was really, really fun to watch. Athena really getting alignment in those battles to her advantage.
Absolutely. And I loved Hisuian Quillfish trying to be a bug type by not moving at all during the battle, which was absolutely, that's one of my favorite bugs in the game right now. But like, I'm surprised we didn't see that the Shadow Electivire come out, and didn't see anything from the Shadow Alolan Marowak. That would have been some interesting matchups as well.
Yeah, really, those starters coming out and really showing well for Athena throughout those battles. The Venusaur locking in on that Azumarill, the Swampert locking in on that Toxapex, both of them avoiding the Altaria to the best of their ability. Really interesting and skilled play by Athena.
Absolutely, yeah, and and to speak for that Altaria, it gets out there, it does the job that it needs to. Took some hits that were necessary, and they delivered them as just as well. So yeah, it was definitely a good play on both teams. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, if we can get our next matchup, our penultimate matchup, the 4th battle, which could be imperative, as mentioned, in getting Lured Up back into this contest. We see Casa de Cuban from the Lured Up team with that Raichu. I love the Kanto Raichu, the original Raichu. We see that Dragonite. We see the Trevenant as well. Really strong pick. The Defense Deoxys, Talonflame, and that Lantern as well.
Yeah, and for Dutch Claps, we've got the Jump Luff, hopefully knowing that the Community Day move. We've got A9, Alolan Ninetales. We got a Mew, which has a myriad of moves, so that'll be interesting to see. We got a Tapu Fini, a Muck, and a Spicy Pick with a Midnight Form Lycanroc. So this is going to be a good match.
Yeah, I love that. I'm glad we get to see the Tapu Fini. Very important with the team Spinal Tapu Fini. And
You got to represent.
Of course. I love the Great League Mew. It's a big favorite of mine. In general, this team, like, it just has some very interesting picks. The Kanto Muck is always really interesting. It has that Thunder Punch and Dark Pulse charge moves. The Lycanroc, like you pointed out, is just a very unconventional rock type, and for a team with Talonflame on it, you don't want to see a rock type. So,
no.
but really, I'm just interested in this game's gonna be Tapu Fini trying to dance around 2 electric types and a grass type if it shows up. Like, this is not the best matchup for it, for that Water Fairy type, but
yeah,
I
definitely.
guess we'll see. That something like that Mew could be the perfect pivot to make it work. So
exactly.
Definitely not going to count it out.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. Like that Mew could be the one the hold the door for them, right? And then that Lycanroc with knowing counter, Psychic Fangs, Crunch, another rock move that is escaping me at this current moment. But I'm super excited to see how these two teams are going to match up.
Definitely, let's get to see those battles.
Let's get to see these battles indeed. Needy for Speedy, how you doing? You ready for these? You ready for
great.
this? Can't write you?
I am ready for this.
Ooh.
We see a beautiful, beautiful lead. Immediately swap out into that Muck, trying to keep that Tapu Fini from this little electric rat. Or what is it? Mouse?
Mouse! It's a cute little mouse! It's the only mouse we all accept as cute and adorable besides Mickey. As you see, the Crunch is coming in and it's gonna be not shielded. Now the key thing about this mouse is that it can't take anything, especially a Dark Pulse, as Muck is gonna try to, it got the fast move in. And that is gonna be a charge move as well. Is that a Thunder Punch? Will that be the Thunder Punch? The KO, the Muck? Ooh. That is done
absolutely
and done.
So barely winning that matchup, but we do see that Great League Mew. I know our other lovely analysts and casters want to see the moveset. Everyone wants to see the moveset on that Mew, as it definitely can be very pivotal here. But we see it desperately trying to go for the Moonblast, but this Lantern is able to throw the Surf first up against this Tapu Fini.
Yeah, Surf now coming off of Lantern, getting onto Lantern was such a huge thing, and getting that shield too was so great, as now the Tapu Fini is just going to hit up this defense Deoxys with some Moonblast. Does the debuff happen? Hell yeah! Ooh, the girls are in the driver's seat, and this is not something Lured Up wants, as a Psycho Boost is going to come through, gonna get shielded, and we will see what happens here now, as it's going to be, oh no, there's still no time. He's just dropping their defense now. Casa de Cubone is just dropping his defense, going for that Thunderbolt. Can he get to it? Gets to it. Looks like we have a little bit of lag. No shield. Remember, he debuffed themselves for this Thunderbolt.
Absolutely is not able to secure the knockout on the Tapu Fini, so this Tapu Fini has a whole bunch of energy, but we do see Cubone does have 2 Protect Shields and decides to, and correctly calls up against this Moonblast, but we do not know this Mew's movesets. We do not know what it can pack a punch up against this Lantern, and we see, oh, what is that? Is that Dark Pulse and Wild Charge? Is that what I'm seeing?
I thought I saw Flame Charge and Crunch, or I definitely saw Dark move, but I think the left was Flame Charge. We'll have to find out. Nope, you're right. It was Wild Charge and Dark Pulse. Absolutely right. Great call. Need for Speedy. I'm sure you've seen this Mew numerous amounts of times in your battles before. As a Dark Pulse gets the shield. Is that the last shield? That was the last shield.
But this Thunderbolt will be able to connect with this Mew, potentially knocking it out, and it lives on 1 HP in a dream, but unable to make it to that wild charge to try to knock out that opposing Lantern. So Cubone definitely tried to bring it back for his team, understanding like, hey, I gotta kind of do something here. I can't let this all just disappear out into the wild.
I thought that debuff was going to hurt him. Ended up giving the farm to this Pokemon and taking the advantage at the end. So great job on Cubone at knowing what his team can do and using the debuff on himself to actually help out his team as well. As it's going to be Ninetales coming out onto this Lantern, and look at that, it is a Charmtails again. All the Ninetales run Charm. I haven't seen a Powder Snow Ninetales since like Sorceress Cup.
I feel like this is a very interesting pick, though. I don't know. I believe they were able to TM before matches. Is this like factions with that?
You are able to TM before matches. So because the movesets have opened up now, it's not just the same logic as, you know, this Ninetales could be rocking, Psyshock could be rocking anything it wants nowadays. But the Psyshock got shielded and a Thunderbolt is going to come through or going to come out.
But it is correctly shielded by Dusclops and trying to bring in the Trevenant to farm down this Alolan Ninetales and unable to successfully farm down, so forced to throw the Seed Bomb to secure the knockout on this Alolan Ninetales before it's able to make it to the Weather Ball.
Ninetales was getting too close to a Weather Ball and Trevenant had to get it off the table. Muck comes out. Muck's got the poison types, got the dark type. This is not something Trevenant wants to see. There's also a shield. So the Shadow Ball comes through. It's going to go through. It's going to go through. I've not seen what a Shadow Ball does to a Muck. Takes it into the deep red. Ouch, mama, that hurt. Cool, and the dark move is coming in to take out this Trevenant.
Absolutely. This will secure the knockout on the Trevenant, but we do see this Mew in the back and, you know, some nice farm here up against this Muck. Will it be able to make it to the Thunder Punch to knock out this Lantern? It is able to make it to the Thunder Punch and gets the last Protect Shield from Cubone.
That's actually pretty big. As you see, it is the Raichu in the back and the Mew on the back line here. Oh, but Lantern dips with energy. That's huge because you can at least get that Thunder Punch off. You know you can at least get that Thunder Punch off. Dark Pulse you all you want. I would say Wild Charge, but Dark Pulse all you want. You're going to get that Thunder Punch off right here because Raichu is going to get this shield, and this could be huge for Casa de Cubone. Let's see. Gets the shield. Ooh, Speedy. Will Lantern's energy be the way to go? Can he get to another Thunder Punch in time? Oh!
Unable to make it to that Thunder Punch to potentially maybe trying to go for the Wild Charge, understanding that this Mew will not be knocked out by a Thunderbolt. But this Mew now does show its second charge move in Wild Charge up against the Lantern. I don't know if that was a smart call. I don't know if I would show the second move because now Casa de Cubone has to go into this next match realizing, hey, if I don't win this, my team loses. But now I have the information on this Mew that I can try to team build against.
This is game point for Spinal Tapu Fini as Muck comes in hot on this Raichu again. The Raichu pulling a lot of the work here for Casa de Cubone, even though it just lost because of that Volt Switch situation. Debuffs itself and Muck takes that Wild Charge beautifully and comes back in with a Dark Pulse.
Absolutely, especially with this Raichu being debuffed. It does not appreciate this charge move from this Muck. Muck desperately trying to make it to another Dark Pulse, but this defense Deoxys is able to counter down the poison type.
And look at that. This is a dark type charge move Mew. So this is actually really good. You can throw the dark move, then swap out and bring in the Charmer. There's plenty of play here for Dutchclops. And it looks like she is in control again. Oh my goodness, need for Speedy. Is this the girls just taking control of every single matchup?
Absolutely. We do see this Dark Pulse. Will Hazard the Cubone decide to use his Protect Shield? He does up against this Mew that is being a terror against this team. Going for the Psycho Boost up against the Mew, maybe potentially trying to get the shield. We see a teammate wondering if they haven't battled yet, but this Mew is able to call correctly that that was just a Psycho Boost and not shielding and able to make it to this Dark Pulse, which will be able to knock out the defense Deoxys.
Yo, fish on a heater, get off the screen. Your teammate is trying not to get you guys lost with the last point. But Dusclops is coming in with that Mew now and energy and Lantern being the tank and getting those surfs off. Will it get the last shield? No. Knows that Mew can probably survive this.
Absolutely. Mew holding on 1 HP in a dream, able to make this wild charge off, which will do serious damage up against this lantern. Huge for Dusclops. And still with a shield and still with this charm, the Ninetales definitely putting Cubone in a rough position, trying to bring in the Raichu to have any play in this final matchup.
It is going to be too hard because all of the Pokemon are super low HP and Charm is just too mean to low HP Pokemon. It is the most bully oppressive move I've ever seen, and we're going for the Side Shock, and this Need for Speedy will solidify the Spinal Tapu Fini's victory in their 8th point.
Absolutely. Very commanding matches throughout the entire tournament. You know, Lured Up definitely did try, but Tapu Fini, you know, man, I love Fini so much. So, wow. Definitely being very impressive in their plays and their calls. But, you know, it just was too much for Lured Up.
Oh my goodness. Like, are you kidding me? The game plans, you could tell. They're like, oh, this Pokemon can come in, and then I've got this back Pokemon that I won't reveal. Oh, they're going to show me what the third Pokemon is? Yeah, I don't need to bring out Venusaur then, or I don't need to bring out Wigglytuff then. I'm good. Like, game plan for days. It was well done. But let's go back to our analysts as they're going to finish up the 4th matchup, and then we are going to get into the 5th battle. So we will still bring you the last battle as well. But analysts, what did you see?
Ooh, Enhoff, that had me on the edge of my seat until I moved back to the middle. It was wild, right?
Yeah, that was excellent. I really loved how Dutchclops went about that. The Mew having the wild charge, the Kanto Muck obviously having the Thunder Punch, really freed up a path for the Alolan Ninetales. Because the only thing on Casa de Cubone's team that resists that charm is the Talonflame. And once you show those 2 electric type moves, you have the rock type Lycanroc on your team, you have the water type Tapu Fini on your team. It's really hard for Casa de Cubone to feel comfortable bringing that Talonflame, and that just makes the Alolan Ninetales so good on Dutchclops' team, and obviously came to fruition, putting us up at 8-4 as the score, with an entire match still to go.
An entire match, like, yeah, the Spinal Tap proved to be a bit more effective than the lag was, right? And then the also another thing, just like showing how important is like when knowing when to use your Protect Shields, and like how that can like save the Pokemon in the back, or how like you might just need to sacrifice this Pokemon. Like, what do you need to do? So definitely a lot of battle strategies, or as I like to call them, bat strats, that come and play with it. So
yeah, I really loved that Mew moveset as well. The Dark Pulse for, you see the Trevenant, you see the Defense Deoxys as well, and then Wild Charge for the Talonflame, the neutral damage against Dragonite and the Lantern, and really everything other than Raichu and Trevenant that Wild Charge existed for. So really interesting, always fun to see, and then obviously I love to see some Tapu Fini play as well.
absolutely, just coming in there and clocking into work, right? Like getting it done. I would have loved to see that Lycanroc in there, but alas, maybe next time.
For sure. Now, if we can move into that last matchup, which again is still going to happen, I believe we have Betsy and Calvin still to play. I saw her in chat. And then Basher Ball God on the side of Lord Up Lag. We see some very fun picks. I see that Kofagrigus on Basher's team, as well as that Greedent, Oranguru, Metacham, Shadow Abomasnow, and Swampert. I completely missed that Metacham escaped the bans.
Ooh. Ooh, very nice. And for Betsy and Calvin, looks like we have a Obstagoon, a Galarian Weezing, Trevenant, Noctowl, Walrein, and Metacham. And any of these Pokemon jumping out at you? Well, not like literally, but any of these Pokemon jumping out at you and off?
I mean, I love that Kofagrigus. Big favorite of mine. Was on my regionals team and is a really solid Pokemon. Again, we mentioned a lot of bulk was banned. We had that Umbreon, Lickitung, and Diggersby all banned. Those are three of the best anti-ghosts in the Great League. So that Kofagrigus looks really good for Basher Ball God. But then Betsy and Calvin has the two big remaining ones, Noctowl and Obstagoon, making it really frightening to bring that Kofagrigus. Also having that Trevenant then, because otherwise that Metacham would look really good. So she has very good coverage with her team of 6 here. Has opted for both the Trevenant Walrein core, that's still very strong, as well as a Metacham Noctowl core, which is very potent as well. And looks to be very interesting for her in this team of 6.
Absolutely, and not I want to give credit where credit's due. That Galarian Weezing, especially with that Fairy Wind update and the Season 12 move pool update, absolutely fantastic. Now with the overheat and the play rough, so I definitely wouldn't underestimate that either. So I'm definitely excited to see how these two trainers are gonna build their teams to counter the other.
Yeah, very excited to see how these play out.
Oh, we're gonna see how these play out. I gotta ask, is it like Galarian Weezing now with this Fairy Wind? Is it really that great? I feel like just those charge moves take way too long, even though you have something so great like Fairy Wind on it. It's just fun. I love those top hats.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to get into these matches. What will these trainers bring? We see a Greedent into the Metacham. Very, very positive lead for Betsy. But we do see trying to counter that Metacham, potentially prepared for that, bringing in the Rangaroo.
I was going to say, I really wanted to see if she was going to play a double counter line against this Metacham team, especially since Obstagoon is weak to Metacham, and she did. And she caught all of it. She got every single bit of it. Here comes the Obstagoon against this Oranguru. It's like the one thing a Oranguru doesn't want to see because confusion does nothing. Like the whole point of a Oranguru is to like counter fighters, and here's Obstagoon being like, I'm your worst nightmare. As it's going to get to a Night Slash. The Orangaru's going to just take it. It's not going to do much to it, but you're hoping for a proc as a Night Slash. Oh, no, sorry. Orangaru is Psychic typing, so it's super effective. I apologize there. That foul play is coming off of that Orangaru right now. Will it get the shield this time?
Absolutely not. Understanding that this Oranguru really doesn't have much that it can do up against this Obstagoon, but this Obstagoon desperately trying to make it to the gunk shot, unable to before this Metacham is able to counter it down. But we see this Noctowl coming in up against this Metacham, but this Noctowl has 2 Protect Shields that I can potentially use.
Yeah, it's got 2 Protect Shields, and it's healthy. Like, it could still take a couple of Ice Punches. Speedy. Like this thing, Noctowl has been such a great addition now to battlers because it can take some hits and it can feel like it soaks up everything, just like this Greedent. We had talked about tanks being banned, and I am sorry, but everybody found like at least 3 to 4 tanks on their team. This is amazing. The Greedent here just doing wonderful, and this is our first Walrein team as well. Like amazing opportunities here as power-up punches coming in off of this Metacham. So 2 different movesets on the Metachams here, which is real interesting too because the counters are pretty effective on a couple of those Pokemon. Not a lot.
Absolutely, but this Metacham definitely using its counter to its advantage up against this Greedent, able to take the crunch. But we do see the defense fall on this Metacham. I'm not going to be appreciating this moves from the opposing Metacham because of that.
Remember, this is a boosted move. The power-up punch has gone through. This is absolutely forcing the shield from the Basher's Metacham. And Noctowl is in the back, ready to go. 2 shields, 1 shield. It could take this one. We just watched one in the deep yellow take an ice punch and live with 1 HP in a dream. Here comes this heavy. Oh, going straight for the Shadow Ball. Love it. Love it. Only needed the Sky Attack. Went straight for the Shadow Ball. Noctowl making its presence known.
Absolutely. Very commanding victory from game beginning, game end for Betsy. So definitely Basher's going to have to try to counteract that. This is a very rough matchup for Basher. I look at their team and it's very rough, very, very rough. I wouldn't know how to kind of approach Betsy's team, but we do see this Metacham on Metacham mirror. But Betsy does have that advantage in being able to throw power up punch as its bait move rather than ice punch and going to be able to increase their attack.
She brought back the double counter line again. It ain't broke, don't fix it. Hits the Metacham with a psychic. No debuff there as Basher's about to throw his own psychic onto Betsy. Gets shielded this time, so Betsy's keeping it alive. And in comes the Kofa. And in comes the Obsta. Like, Obstagoon seems like a safe swap for a Metacham here. Like, whatever you bring against Metacham, I'll just bring in Obstagoon and keep that fighting attack pressure. As nothing's gonna do nothing to this Obstagoon. The girls have done it all night, Speedy. They've been in control. They've taken over this entire matchup. It's just been wonderful to watch these performances. I'm just hoping they proc or maybe get to a gunk shot, girl. That's it, Betsy. Just get to the gunk shot. I hope it gets revealed.
Absolutely, but we do see this Kafagrigas trying to do anything up against this Obstagoon, trying to get a debuff, trying to do something with the Psychic, but it's unable to. But understanding how little damage this Kafagrigas can do up against this Obstagoon, going for the Night Slash to secure the knockout, but not before being able to make it to a whole bunch of energy that can be thrown at this Metacham now.
Oh, it's gonna get shielded, which is great. Absolutely the right call to do here as Basher. If they're building up that much energy, shield the first one. You never know if it's gonna be a hyper beam or a gunk shot, and it's a great call by Basher here, keeping his Metacham alive. Noctowl comes back into play, and out comes the ice punches. He's got an ice punch and a half, so probably get that Noctowl down to the deep yellow if Noctowl doesn't shield.
Nope. Noctowl able to take that ice pack like a champion, able to stay into the green, but now with the Shadow Abomasnow and its Powder Snow fast move is now knocked down into the yellow, but being able to throw a super effective Sky Attack and then this Metacham coming in and power up punching, but not before the Shadow Abomasnow is able to get the Protect Shield with this Energy Ball.
Oof. Great call there by Betsy, making the call on the energy ball to keep the Metacham healthy. Guess what? It's just gonna power up punch. And that Metacham doesn't want to see these powered up punch counters. Like, this is a great job for Betsy. Power up punch just so dominant. Like, you can throw a power up punch here, girl. Yeah, okay. I was like, why are we reaching for psychic? That's real. My heart started pumping real tight there as well. Go for this power up punch. It is boosted. This should take out the opponent's Metacham as, oh, no, the last counter goes through. There it is. Betsy got that last move. Whoops, 10.
Absolutely. Woo. 10, too big even for its own little flag, going into double digits with this commanding victories tonight. But will Basher be able to at least get 1 point, trying not to make it 11? But we see the Swampert into the Metacham, definitely trying desperately to make it to a charge move. and waiting patiently and throwing on a charge move priority event.
That was charging priority. And great job on Betsy trying to just throw the power-up punch now, knowing that they're psychic, knowing that she's just trying to force points. So now the opponent's going to be all frazzled and gets that shield. That third battle shield. This bait call is huge because now she's powered up. Look at what a non-powered up counter did almost to a psychic. And it's going to get too close to another psychic again. A sludge wave will come through. Will Betsy shield this one though? Not going to shield it. Oh, she did.
Oh, I think a last-minute shield. Understanding that this Medicham is very valuable against Basher's team, but with this power-up punch, we'll be able to wreak havoc, trying not to let the Swampert get farmed down and desperately switching out into their own Medicham. But now it is met by the Noctowl. Definitely not the Pokemon that it wants to line up against.
Not the Pokemon at all. Like, I was actually for a second thinking that this Medicham was just going to run with this team. Because it's Obstagoon in the back, or it's Obstagoon in the back for her, but it's Abomasnow in the back as well. So if they didn't reveal the Abomasnow soon, it was going to see this Medicham, and Medicham was going to run with it. But a Sky Attack's going to come in, and it's going to do the work and almost take out this Medicham off this Noctowl. One more Ice Punch. Almost as deep as Lily was. This Noctowl should survive this as the Medicham goes down and it's got ready to close to a charge move. 1, 2, can it get the Sky Attack off in time? No, Powder Snows come in, and these are Shadow Powder Snows.
Absolutely, but the Shadow Powder Snows will be no match up against this Medicham, being able to increase its attack with Power Up Punch, desperately going for another one, and shielding the first one as this second one is going to do more damage because this Medicham's attack is raised. Definitely taking a chunk out of the Shadow Abomasnow.
Like, the Obama's like, oh, I'm going to get this counter user off my table now with this energy ball, only to be met with the next counter user as Betsy just ran double counter and took a sweeping victory in this matchup. This is such great play here, showing you wonderful skills from both battlers, but Obstagoon, Medicham, and Noctowl, that's a really good line. That's a really good line, Speedy.
Absolutely. It was definitely a rough matchup for Basher. He played his best, but there's just nothing you can do kind of when you look at that and you see Obstagoon really isn't checked by much outside of the Medicham, and you just bring something that counters Medicham and Obstagoon can run wild, or even the opposing Medicham can even run wild.
Yeah, it was great getting the 500 and then the Noctowl too, just in case you got to match up a Ghost or some of these psychic moves. But we're going to get over to the main stage here and bring back our analysts. Hey, there I am. Look at that. I don't know which one of that is me, but there I am. All right, here we go. Hi, everybody. Welcome back, analysts. How are you doing tonight?
Welcome back, so nice to see you.
Yes, so nice to see you. Absolutely.
Aha.
And very nice to see that winners Tapu Fini display. Always very, very happy to see. And just very well played throughout the night from Spinal Tapu Fini. An extremely strong 11-4 win.
Oh yeah, the Pokemon that showed up tonight, they showed up and they showed out or showed off or whatever they're showing. Like they crushed it today. So well done.
Yeah, I also think this format is very interesting. Being a draft format and not being able to share Pokemon with your teammates, trying to make sure everyone has components that make their team viable and aren't super weak to opposing Pokemon, because like we saw kind of in that last matchup, it was very, very rough for Basher up against that Obstagoon. And maybe if his teammates was like, hey, take this Azumarill or take something else, could have been better. So I definitely think this format is pretty interesting and helped Tapu Fini secure their victory.
I mean, Tapu Fini's been securing it all night. We watched battle after battle, just information being given. We even said it through in the bans. There were no tanks to be. They banned most of the meta tanks, and everybody reached and found their own tanks. It's just an incredible victory by Tapu Fini there. Whether it was using, oh God, I can't even think. So much has happened. I'm sorry, but. Great victory by Tapu Fini, Spinal Tapu Fini, and a wonderful play by Lured Up Lag, as even though we talk about how dominant the score was, they were still close matches to the end. Came down to some CMPs there, definitely 1 HP in dreams throughout the night. Like, it was super fun for sure. That last matchup definitely did look like Obstagoon was running wild and just having fun, but it doesn't always end up that way, as you could tell and throw most of your time through these draft and matchups as well. So congratulations to Tapu Fini, Spinal Tapu Fini, for taking it, and the girls at PvP, thank you for participating in these matchups, and thank you Lured Up Lag for participating in these battles, and the Lured Up podcast for coming out here and being a part of this as well. And a huge thank you to both communities for all that you do in this. If you are not following any of these communities, Lured Up podcast, go check them out on Twitch as well. And Girls at PvP is just a wonderful community for battling women out there who just want to have fun and just battle it out, and they're just all supportive there. So yes, go check out those communities. They are top and just bring you the best information there. So thank you to both of them for coming tonight to Pogo Battle Network and fighting in our battle nights. Big shout out to Pogo Ash for the raid. Thank you for that. Thank you to my casters for joining me, Miss Enhoff, Shadow Prime, and Miss Need for Speedy. Appreciate you. Thank you to my editor, First Olympian, for all that he does in the back scenes and editing these videos. And thank you to you, the battlers, for watching and enjoying this show. I still hadn't figured out how to do rage yet. I'm still working on that one, but we're just going to call it a night. So if you would like to close out Miss Enhoff here, as we're going to wrap up the night.
Yeah, just thanks for having me on. This was a blast to watch and a wonderful time to do some analysis. Really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. I echo Enhoff. I try to keep my puns at a minimum, and I think I did a pretty decent job, but it was absolutely fun. I'd love to do it again.
Absolutely. I was proud to cast these matches, definitely kind of a little less female casters in the community, and it's always a pleasure and honor to cast every single match.
It's an honor and a blast to have all of you here with me tonight. So thank you all for being here. As I said before, we're just going to close it out. So thank you all for watching Poke Battle Network's Battle Nights. Congratulations to Spinal Tapu Fini. And like always, enjoy your battles.